This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social. We're here in the W Hotel, Abu Dhabi. I mean, we've had it right off. We've got a nice little red carpet. There's a woman playing a violin in the background.
I've ruined it. I've ruined it.
Why have you ruined it?
Can't polish a turd, can you?
Darren, how are you, mate? We're having it off. We're in the Middle East.
Do you know what? It's been good. Do you know what I've said before, right? Boxing's been good to me. I remember my dad when I was about 10 years old, when I just started boxing, he said, you know, if you get good at this game, you'll travel the world. And he weren't wrong, to be fair. Look, I'm out here with all you mob. I brought my wife, couple of kids, living the dream, mate.
That's it, that's it. Look, let's get into it. We've got a massive fight week. Dimitri Bivol looks to defend his WBA light heavyweight crown. Off the back of defeating Canelo, he now fights the unbeaten Mexican Bivol-Ramirez. He's got a hard night's work come Saturday night.
I think so. I think Ramirez, though he hasn't been tested like Bivol has, he's a very good fighter. He's a huge fighter. I can't believe it was about 3 years ago he was doing super middleweight. It's incredible, like madness. I just feel this is Bivol's fight. And I'm not judging that on the Canelo fight. I just feel he's just that little bit better. What I will be interested in seeing is who holds the centre of the ring. I imagine it will be Ramirez. And if Ramirez is able to push Bivol back, then it becomes a little bit interesting. If Bivol gives up too much space, he's in for a hard night. But I just feel he's very crafty with his feet. And I think he'll take 1 or 2 steps back, get back round, and will just use his boxing know-how to win on points in a very good fight. But I will say, before you jump in and ask me the question, fight of the night for me is, I can see the big picture of her there, Jessica McCaskill versus Chantel Cameron. If you've seen McCaskill's last fight, she just bit down on her gum shield and just unleashed fucking hell. And I feel there's so much on the line here that both women are just going to go for it. And I feel that could potentially match Taylor Serrano as far as entertainment's concerned.
Well, it is a special card. Obviously, we talk about that fight, the undisputed women's fight, but we've also got Zelfa Barrett, who replaces Joe Cordina, who picked up a little hand injury. Zelfa Barrett in a really, really good fight with someone that we know in Rakimov is a hard test. We saw he gave Jojo Diaz a good fight a couple of years back. Obviously, a little bit of sort of, I don't know, I'll go into it first with you. Joe Cordina, obviously we stripped the hand injury. I know that to allow the fight with Agawa in the first place, they had to apply for an IBF exception. I know sort of you get on with Joe and the team, so how are they? And sort of I suppose that he's just looking to re-heal and then get the winner of this fight.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's unfortunate, but sometimes these things happen for a reason. He's got the opportunity now within his next fight to be a 2-time world champion. Do you know what I mean? So, by the way, just as I'm answering this question, Charlie's having a swig of his Corona. What a geezer. Yeah, so look, sometimes these things are meant to happen. He's had an injury. That's boxing for you. These things can happen. The fight itself, Barrett and Rakimov, it's interesting, to be fair. I've seen it time and time again with some fighters who are very laid back in personalities. They can sometimes transfer that nature, that personality into the ring. And Zelfa sometimes can be like that. He can be guilty of coasting, but when he's on it, he's very good. I think against Korbanov, he showed that when he's disciplined and he's switched on, he's a tough man to beat.
You've got to see a real career best though from him.
We have to. Rakimov, I think that fight with Diaz was brilliant. I mean, it was a proper draw, wasn't it? I watched it and I couldn't pick a winner. I think a draw was a fair result. And what I did see in that fight was somebody in Rakimov who proper lets his hands go. When he throws a shot, he means it. He don't hold back. I remember, again, to reference my dad again, my dad used to always say to me, if you're going to throw a shot, throw it properly. And Rakimov does that. But what I will say about him, he can be cool. And with Barrett, he's going to have to find one of those shots that he called Donovan with, you know, a beautiful left hook if he's going to put a dent in Rakimov. But I feel it's a brilliant fight. It is, and I really hope Barrett can pull it off, so we can set up that big fight with Cordina back home.
Finally from me, last weekend, reflecting on Katie Taylor, unanimous decision against Karabahal, and then obviously Johnny Fisher with the amazing support that he always brings. Ellie Scotney picking up the EBU title, Gary Cully with just a sensational first round knockout, Maisie Rose making her professional debut, Jordan Reynolds, I mean,
yeah, legend. Yeah, really good show. Mild stomping ground, Wembley Arena. It was good to see it packed out. The Irish fans were out in full force. I mean, the Katie Taylor fans were out in full force. She's a superstar, she really is, and she performed really, really well against a woman who, to be fair, in Carbajal, she performed better than I thought she would.
She came game, didn't she? And she was happy to throw.
Exactly. Look, it was her moment to shock the world and become undisputed world champion, and she laid it all on the line. But she was just second best in every department. And Katie Taylor goes on, and look, the options when you're Katie Taylor are always that great, that she's got the opportunity now to, well, I mean, she holds all the cards and she has for a long time, but the thought of a Serrano rematch at Croke Park is something that
special.
Oh, special, mate. And I've been sort of nudging Eddie, saying, come on, mate. Paddy's Day is on the Friday. March 17th on a Friday, so imagine that, whether you put it on a Saturday or not. You imagine Ireland that weekend. I can't wait. Johnny Fisher, the Romford Army are incredible.
The first time I've seen them live, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, they make a racket. And he done well, Johnny. He's learning on the job. We all know that. He's inexperienced. He's in safe hands with Mark Tibbs, who knows his boxing. He's a proper boxing man, Mark, and he understands that the basics take you a long way. But that was spiteful stuff from Johnny, and I'm impressed with the rate of improvements. Don't get me wrong, there's still an awful lot to learn.
He doesn't need to rush.
No, you don't need to rush. It's just like, how do you manage him now? Where do you go? Because I mean, he's creeping up the rankings domestically. Where do you go with him? But I think if you're Johnny Fisher, you're the Romford Army, you're Mark Tibbs, you're impressed with how Johnny's improving.
Darren, top man, thank you for speaking to me at Boxing Social. We'll have it off this week. Jordan Reynolds.
Jordan Reynolds. I was happy with Jordan. Obviously, I now manage him. He's been out for a year to the day. He's a top lad. He's well supported in Luton. He's 27 now, and he wants to get a move on. I'd like to see Jordan within 18 months fighting for a title. He's bang on. I'm really happy for him, and I'm really happy for Maisie Rose, who showed real composure to come on just before the main event, which was ledge. Take care, everybody. Cheers, Charlie. Get back to your Corona.
Top man, cheers.